All right, we're at 90%. I'm going to end the poll here and then we will begin going. It looks like we have about 31% of people in this class. This is their first connection to anything with MU Extension related. And of course, University of Missouri Extension programs cover a wide gamut of topics from agriculture, which can include livestock and forage and home horticulture, all the way over to human development topics and nutrition topics, business development, community development. Those are kind of our main core areas. For those of you that are new, this is kind of a new format for extension training. We're glad to have you. For those that have been in extension programs before, welcome back. All right. Sorry about the little cough. I've been coughing too much today. Of course, our chat is open. If you're new to Zoom, you'll see a bar across the bottom of your Zoom window that gives you a few extra features that you have access to. One of those is chat. Pardon me. And me and my other co-facilitators will keep track of those chat comments as we go. If you have questions or additional follow-up, we'll try to interact with those. And then we include some of that chat conversation and observation in the follow-up emails that go out as well. I will give a special shout out today. Shout out to Jennifer Moore over at KSMU. I see her smiling face, but I also see in chat that she's mentioned that she has joined us today for this training. Looks like we have about 54 online today, and we do have about 147 currently registered, and you can still register at any time in the program. Get involved. The book is available on YouTube. I just discovered that. I think someone in this class mentioned that a few days ago, so you can listen to that book in that way. Of course, if you're like me, I like having a printed copy to mark up, and those can be ordered as well. This is considered a classic, very much so. So let's begin. Today's topic is commitment. And this is the third quality listed in Maxwell's book on the 21 qualities of an indispensable leader. Now, when I hear that word commitment, I think of several different definitions or uses of that word. Several different ones come to mind. I think of marriage, marriage commitment. I think of being dedicated to a cause. I think of being sent to prison or sent to an institution when you're committed. I think of being obligated to do something. But I also think about taking action. Commitment, to me, is an action word. Commitment, in fact, in Maxwell's book, he says that action is the only real measure of commitment. So commitment starts in the heart. It is tested by action, and then it opens the door to achievement. I think commitment has those three components: in the heart, in action, and then in achievement. So why is commitment included in Maxwell's book as an indispensable quality? I have some thoughts on that, but first, a parable. A chicken and a pig were walking down the road, and they passed by a sign for a local diner advertising ham and egg breakfast, $2.95. The chicken said, "Now, that's our whole contribution to society, breakfast food." And the pig replied, "For you, it may just be a contribution, but for me, it's a total commitment." So, different level of commitment there, but it also makes me want to ask another question for fun. Pop up another one here, because we like to have a little fun as we go along here. What is your favorite breakfast food? This is your chance to interact and let us know. What is your favorite breakfast food? do you enjoy the chicken's contribution, or are you more of sort of the in favor of the pig's total commitment type of thing? Where are we at here on this? I love that story of the chicken and the pig. It certainly brings home the difference. I've heard a coach use that before. He'd always tell his players, tell that same story and tell the players, now go be a pig, go be fully committed in what you're doing. Looks like French toast wins the day on favorite breakfast food, but eggs and bacon are right up there. I guess the French will be happy to see the outcome of that vote. I always thought bacon makes everything better. I read recently where every slice of bacon takes 7 minutes off of your life. And I got to calculating that, and I determined I really should have passed away in 1736, if that's the case. We eat a lot of bacon around our place. So, but for the parable, at least, the pig was certainly saw that for him to be involved in that breakfast, it was going to take total commitment. Now, the story may be funny, but it illustrates our understanding of what commitment means. The chicken's contribution is a good deed, but the pig, for his commitment, he has to be all in. And this illustration gives us a profound picture of commitment as a giving of oneself, of one's reputation, integrity, heart, putting your life on the line. Those are all examples of being committed. But so basically you can see from that being committed entails some sort of sacrifice. Making a commitment involves some sort of serious decision, the sincerity of a decision, and then being steadfast toward that goal. Life in our modern era has conditioned us to desire sort of a life of ease, of quick gratifications, and less discomfort, or at least that was the case prior to middle to end of March. You know, there's nothing wrong with desiring an easier life, but it is troubling that many now expect to receive rewards with minimal effort, without making any sort of commitment. Now, based on the additional research I have read, people who value commitments also have high emotional intelligence. They're skilled in managing relationships, especially in the area of interpersonal effectiveness, conflict management, building bonds and trust, teamwork and collaboration. These seem to be areas where people who are skilled at making commitments are also skilled. And commitment is a strong indicator of self-discipline, resilience, persistence. People who are committed do their very best even outside of their comfort zones. So here are some examples. I mean, disciplined athletes, they commit to the rigors of training in order to win, right? They know the road that they're taking is going to have obstacles and challenges, but they stay focused on overcoming those in order to reach the finish line. What is the ultimate goal? They've made a commitment, they stick with it. Much the same way, diligent farmers commit to preparing their soil well for their seeds to germinate. And then they patiently wait on them to grow. And when the first buds break the soil, they take that extra time to care for them, looking forward to the harvest. Commitment is sort of what happens between the tilling and the harvest. Commitment is what happens between the first practice and the championship. You know, people who are afraid to commit to anything just sort of drift through life. And those who make a commitment, gain favor and a good reputation. They're the ones that accomplish their goals and reap a harvest in what they're doing because of their commitment. I think that's one of the reasons Maxwell has included commitment in this book. You know, he says when it comes to commitment, he notes that there are 3 types of commitment or commitment makers. He calls them cop-outs, holdouts, dropouts, and all-outs. I'm just curious here on, let's do a little poll. What do you think, which best describes your overall level of commitment? Now, let me describe those a little bit to you again from Maxwell. Cop-outs are people without goals who do not commit. Holdouts do not know if they can reach their goals, so they're afraid to even commit. Dropouts will start toward a goal, but quit when the going gets tough. And all-outs will set goals, commit to them, and pay the price to reach them. How do you see you fitting in there? When it comes, and these are anonymous. I don't know how anyone has voted. You feel like you're a cop-out, a holdout, a dropout, or an all-out, or not sure. Keeping track of the chat, there's some great comments. Pam Dutzman, great quote from you. Not sure who said this. She says, you may have what it takes, but it'll take everything you have got. It's a great quote and a great example of commitment. Right, I'm going to end the poll here. We'll share the results. Looks like we have a classroom full of all-outs. Maxwell says these are people who set goals, commit to them, and pay the price to reach them. But we have some others scattered throughout there as well. And I would say at different times in life, I might have fit into some of those different categories. Sometimes depending on the topic, I might have put myself in other places on that. We'll stop the share. So let me illustrate this topic a little bit further, this topic of commitment. I'm going to try and illustrate it in a different way. Now ask yourself, are you interested or committed? Now, if you're interested, you'll do what is convenient. If you are committed, you'll do whatever it takes. So in high school, I was interested in playing the baritone. I practiced at school, never at home. I had a friend who was committed to playing the trumpet. She practiced every day. She took lessons after school, and she went on to college on a music scholarship with her trumpeting skills. She was committed. I was interested. I was in it for the parades, let's be honest. In it for the fun. So if you're interested, you will believe your excuses and why you cannot achieve that goal. But if you're committed, you'll focus on what you can accomplish. Now, here's an example of that. I have talked myself out of many things in life, things that I was just merely interested in for a time. I was interested in fishing growing up, for example. But I had plenty of reasons why that was not the best career choice for me. But I had a friend, Jimmy, who was committed to fishing. And he now makes a nice secondary income as a professional fisherman. He actually won a boat last year in a competition. Jimmy has fished a lot of hours. He's learned more about the craft than I had, the lures and how to do it and where to go. But he had really committed himself to fishing. Me, I may go once or twice a year. I can still put a worm on a hook, but that's about it. I'm going to need a lot of help to catch many fish, and a good guide with me. So that's a difference between interest and commitment. If you're committed, you will begin to sort of let go of your excuses about why you cannot achieve something. I realize we can be committed to hundreds of different things. We do have to set up priorities in order to have the time and the mental energy to commit to something. In fact, deciding between interest and commitment, that can kind of help you determine which things should be your priority. Is it just an interest? Maybe it doesn't need to be such a big time priority versus something that's a commitment. If you want it to be a commitment, then you need to go all in to achieve or to lead, you must commit to something. When it comes to growing yourself as a leader, let's ask another poll. When it comes to growing yourself as a leader, are you interested or are you committed? I'm going to look at a few comments. Here's one. It all starts with the dawn of the day and making your bed. Yeah, I think there's actually a book with that title, something about making your bed. It was a Navy officer, I think, that wrote the book about beginning your day that way with structure and organization. Great example. It does start right there. If a person is committed 100%, is probably perceived by his peers to be of high character. That's interesting. We talked about character first, commitment and character, how those might be connected. I think Wednesday we saw where character and charisma can certainly be connected. Being committed to the goals and people and things we believe in, that's what leadership is all about. And that sort of commitment is certainly going to be tested in the coming months or a year or two. So we'll end the polling here and share our results. When it comes to growing yourself as a leader, are you interested or committed? 75% of you actually said you would identify yourself as committed. This is a priority item for you. 21 interested. Either one, if you're interested, it could end up becoming a commitment. Either one, that's great. Good input there. Appreciate seeing those numbers and appreciate you participating in that. When you, if you are committed, if you're one of those that have voted about being committed, then you're going to do things to upgrade your knowledge. If you are committed, you will upgrade your skills. If you are committed, you will spend time figuring out how you can achieve those goals toward leadership or toward exercising it or improving it. If you're committed, you will focus on why you must instead of why you cannot. You'll make leadership sort of a focus, maybe a focus of your reading, for example. Set some goals to finish a certain number of leadership books this year. And you can find leadership topics in all sorts of things. I just started today a book called The Pioneers by David McCullough. I wasn't 2 pages into it. And the very first of the book, they're focusing on the character of the pioneers and the people that settled the West. So you can find leadership examples in lots of different books. Doesn't have to be a textbook on leadership. So in my opinion, here's why Maxwell included commitment in the book. Commitment is the foundation for great accomplishments. It causes you to work hard. It causes you to work at getting better. And when you are committed, when you have ownership in the outcome, when you are committed, you become enthusiastic and contagious, or that enthusiasm becomes contagious, I should say. When you are committed, you will absorb a blow or a setback, or maybe even a quarantine, and you'll ask, how can I keep moving forward toward this goal? If you're committed, you'll continue to move forward, looking for solutions and not settling for excuses. So looks like several people have had some great comments here in chatter, and we want to be sure to take some time to ask questions as well. Let's see, an individual, I read a book about only committing to those things you really find important, because committing to everything leads to an unrealistic goal that cannot be met. Absolutely. There are a couple of books, small books, that I read every year, and one of them is Crazy Busy. It's a mercifully short book about people who are too busy. And the basic premise of that is we overcommit ourselves because of pride. Lots of times we want to feel important or we want to please people. And when we overcommit, we become crazy busy. And you have to set priorities in what you're going to do. In fact, taking it back to agriculture terms, if you let an apple tree just go and keep growing, you'll find a season there where it will be loaded with really small apples. I mean, it will just be covered in small apples. But if you'll take the time that winter to prune, to cut off some of the extra limbs, to really set priorities, so to speak, for that apple tree, the next season, you're going to have big, juicy apples that people want to eat. You actually become more productive and do greater things when you do prioritize your life. And that means saying no to some things, saying no to some things maybe you committed to, or rechanging your commitments. When a leader shows consistent commitment, others can count on their word and feel assured that they can follow through. That's a comment in chat. Yes, absolutely. When we see that in others, we know that's somebody that we want to partner with, that we can rely on them to follow through. Very, very great example of that. Another comment, we cannot serve two masters. Either I'm committed or I'm not. That certainly, you can get stretched out too thin. And it is okay to say no. For those that are people pleasers, this is sometimes a difficult thing to do, but it actually is okay to say no. I'm looking here at my next poll, if I have one. So I'm going to give you an example. It is not only do you need to say no to some things in order to have your priorities lined up. Commitment breeds sort of enthusiasm in yourself, which is contagious to others. It helps create a foundation for you in your accomplishments to help propel you forward. That's important. But it is also possible to commit to the wrong things. So I'm going to end with just a brief story of that. This is about Larry Waters. Larry was a truck driver, but his lifelong dream was to fly. And out of high school, he went into the Air Force, but he was not able to be a fighter pilot because of his eyesight. And so when he left the Air Force, he had to satisfy himself by just sitting in a lawn chair and watching the fighter planes that crisscrossed over the backyard of where he lived in California. So let's pick up the story about Larry Waters in the Los Angeles Times. This is from March 3rd, 1997. As Larry sat there in his lawn chair, he dreamed about the magic of flying. Then one day, Larry had an idea. He went down to the local Army-Navy surplus store and he bought 45 weather balloons and several tanks of helium. These were not your brightly colored party balloons. These were heavy-duty spears measuring about 4 feet across when fully inflated. Back in the yard, Larry used straps to attach the balloons to his lawn chair. He anchored his lawn chair to the bumper of his Jeep, and he inflated the balloons with helium. Then he packed a few sandwiches and drinks, and he loaded a BB gun, figuring he would pop a few balloons when it was time to return to Earth. His preparations complete, Larry sat down in his chair and cut the anchoring cord. His plan was to lazily float into the sky and eventually back to the terra firma. But things didn't quite work out that way. When Larry cut the cord, he didn't float lazily upward. He shot up as if fired from a cannon. Nor did he go up a couple of 100 feet. Larry climbed and climbed until finally he leveled off at 11,000 feet. At that height, he could hardly risk deflating any of the balloons, lest he unbalanced the load and really experience flying. So he stayed up there, sailing around for 14 hours, totally at a loss of how to get down. Eventually, Larry drifted into the approach corridor of Los Angeles International Airport. A Pan Am pilot radioed the tower about passing a guy in a lawn chair at 11,000 feet with a gun on his lap. Oh gosh, that cracks me up. Los Angeles Airport is right next to the ocean. You may know that at nightfall, the winds on the coast began to change. So as dusk fell, Larry began drifting out to sea. At that point, the Navy dispatched a helicopter to rescue him, Eventually, they were able to hover over him, drop a rescue cord, which they eventually hauled him back to safety. A difficult maneuver, flawlessly executed by the Navy. And as soon as Larry hit the ground, he was arrested. But as he was led away in handcuffs, a television reporter called out to him, "Sir, why did you do it?" And Larry stopped, eyed the man, and replied, "A man can't just sit around all day." So I love that story. Larry was committed, but probably committed to the wrong type of thing here. So many lessons in that story. And but what are the goals that motivate you to take action? Now, I'm going to hope that it's not 45 weather balloons filled with helium. But here's another recommendation for today. Measure your commitment based on where you're spending your hours or your money or your energy. And then set some goals to make those public. Maxwell suggests that in his book, to make your commitments public to family or friends so you will really commit to reaching those goals. And I hope you have a better plan than what Larry Walker did. And I hope you're able to achieve your commitment, stick with your commitment in order to be able to fly high. What are any other comments for today? If not, we love having you here. We love having you join us. We're going to relaunch another poll here to end the day. Hang on, not that one. One final one for today. We just ask you to give a little score on today's class. And again, a recording of this will be made available by email. If you have friends that want to be included in those emails, please have them go ahead and go to the Extension website and sign up. We'll send out recordings and some comments from chat and follow-up emails. And this gives you a day here or so to be thinking about your level of commitment and maybe some commitments you need to make and maybe some interest that you need to drop. So feel free to stay on and visit, but we love having you in class. Once you've taken the poll, you're welcome to depart. Have a good day and have a good weekend, everyone.
Well done, David. That was excellent. That was fun.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I have used that story about Larry Walker before. I'll tell you, I can never get through that without busting up laughing. That just cracks me up.
I know, right?
I can't even imagine.
I know. I saw that on Malcolm in the Middle.
Oh, really? So,
yeah.
Did he do something on
to do that? It was hilarious.
I wonder, what would you tell the people at the Army Navy store where you're buying 45 surplus weather balloons?
Yeah, there's that.
Why wouldn't they say that may not be a good idea?
Sir, are you sure?
Oh,
because you could be causing a problem for radar. Air traffic control.
Oh man, to be that pilot.
I know, right? To be the guys in the helicopter, and this poor fella sitting in his lawn chair. What a story! What a great story.
Well, it's as you know, when you teach a topic, you get to learn more about it, and I get to learn a little more about commitment, and I probably need to make a few adjustments in some of my priorities right now myself, what I'm going to be committed to. That's probably a good topic for all of us coming out of.
I can relate. Like I said, the beauty of this is that everything ties together, and it's just progressive. It's a really well done, I'm going to say, topic, and I appreciate you for getting it going. Thank you, David.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Enjoying and I see Catherine Sell's still on and see your comment. Yes, Catherine, happy Easter. A new beginning for everyone, a new springtime. Love that.
Happy Easter to everybody. Take care.
Take care.
Yep. Thanks, David.
Yes.
See you on Monday.
All right. Very good.
All right. Bye.